intensity, but of course,
We should maybe have them, I'm so sorry.
no, it's fine.
We should probably have them, turn the radio down.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So, but the most recognizable character, and I'm sure all the character you all love, is the evil queen, Regina from Once Upon a Time. I'm gonna start to open the room, and if any of you want to ask questions, yeah.
Hi Lana, welcome to Portugal. Thank you for coming.
Obrigada.
So, your character from Once Upon a Time had a lot of challenge, evolution. So my question is, what was the biggest challenge for you playing Regina and the Evil Queen?
Probably the biggest challenge for me was in season 6, playing both characters at the same time. I don't know how many seasons everyone has watched here, but probably all of them. Thank you. Season 6 was probably the biggest challenge of them all. I have never done anything like that where I had to be one character at one point, then go into hair and makeup for 2.5 hours, come out as the queen, and then play opposite myself, but I wasn't really there. So I had to really craft both sides of the performances before I showed up to work every day. And then I also had to coach my body double on how to stand, what to do with her body, and how to sort of move like me. So it didn't seem obvious to the audience that that wasn't me when I was playing the other character. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She's like, wait, it was like that too. It was very confusing in season 6.
Was there any specific scene that was a challenge for you?
Gosh, it was actually probably the one that was the most challenging, was the one in the office. It was actually the most beautiful scene too, and one of my favorites, when the two characters have this standoff and they get into a huge fight with one another, and the whole office, they tear apart the whole office, and they have this major confrontation that then turns into a sort of forgiveness and acceptance of one another. So that was challenging, only because the physicality of it all, the fighting, just the different levels of emotion, and sort of, crafting that performance and finding the different levels. But I love that stuff. So I look at challenges as like delicious for me, because I just love a good challenge.
Acho que temos aqui outra
Thank
pergunta,
you.
não é?
Yes. What an amazing character as Regina, Evil Queen, what an amazing characters. But you directed an episode of Once Upon a Time. How was the experience? Is something that you would like to do more, maybe in the future?
I loved directing. I had such a great time. My aunt says, you've been directing since you were 5 years old, telling everyone what to do. She goes, it should come very naturally for you. I feel like I like to juggle a lot of things. I like to keep myself really busy, and directing sort of is a perfect world for that, because you have to manage a lot and you have to sort of balance a lot, and you're in charge of so many things at the same time, and I love that. Season 6 really helped a lot by, playing opposite myself. Really taught me how to direct in a strange way, like working with the green screen and learning all the technical things behind it and what went into it, because I had to ask a lot of questions when I was playing opposite myself, and so I became very involved in the sort of production side of it. So when I started directing, it was like, it just came naturally. And I'm a big nerd and I like to study, so preparing for directing was a lot of fun for me.
Mais alguma pergunta aqui?
We had the Evil Queen, but then we had Riga Castillo on Why Women Kill, which was one of my favorite characters.
Thank you.
How did you feel about the development the character had from the beginning, being like that terrible person, and then growing the opposite way the main character Alma did? It was completely in reverse. What did you feel, or how did you feel about that? What was your opinion? What was the best part?
I felt like, oh, I'm doing this again, but with a different character, and very similar arcs, but very different characters. And there was a part of me that thought, did Mark get inspired on some level from seeing Regina's arc going from evil to good? And I don't think so. I don't think he did at all. I don't know how much of Once Upon a Time he saw. But when I booked Why Women Kill, he already had Rita's arc already planned out. So I knew that she was going from being this very misunderstood, very challenging, very sort of complex woman to still beautifully complex, but more vulnerable and open as we see her progress throughout the season. So I love that. I feel like, you know, there's a beginning and an end, and you watch a character grow over the course of 10 episodes, which is not the easiest thing to do, whereas Regina, it was years. You know, her growth took place over many, many more episodes per season and many years versus Rita Castillo's. So I thought Mark Cherry did a brilliant job at finding her arc and having that evolution happen so quickly over 10 episodes. And I loved stripping down all of her beauty and just being very natural. I was saying in the car, I was like, oh, I gotta put makeup on my face. You know, I'm not big on putting a lot of makeup on, and I really like being more natural. So when they said, we're gonna strip you of all your beauty and all your hair, and you're gonna just have no makeup on, I was like, yes! Love that! You know.
On that note,
Yes.
I think you're a very stylish person on your Instagram. So
Thank you.
between Regina, Rita, and Evil Queen, who has the best wardrobe?
Well, I would have to say, and I love you, Eduardo Castro, for his incredibly, designs over the last 7 years, but Lana would prefer to wear Rita Castillo's wardrobe. Just for so many reasons. I can actually wear it in our life, in normal times. And I think, although Regina had some very beautiful clothes, she was much more conservative on some level, still had some sex appeal, but she was more of like a suit girl, more sort of business oriented and she was that politician, so she had that attire. But Rita Castillo had this elegance and this fashion in the 40s was like, oh my God, so beautiful. Imagine if we were in the 40s right now, you would not be in jeans, I would not be in denim, we would be in these beautiful skirt suits, our hair would be done, we would have all our makeup done, and it was just a different time, just much more relaxed these days.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next question? Yeah.
Yes. I wanna, on season 6 of Once Upon a Time, you had to face another challenge, which was the musical episode.
Yes.
What was your experience in the episode, and if that episode sort of brought a fresh light to the series?
It absolutely
and to
did.
the film?
Yes, so there's a lot to say in the musical episode. First of all, when we found out we were doing a musical episode, everyone wanted to do a musical episode.
Yeah.
Everyone was so excited to do it. But then when we actually thought, okay, we're doing this, everyone was like, wait a minute, And the process was interesting because they tested all of our voices to kind of see what our range was. And they gave us like a simple song just to sing so they can hear our range. And they ended up giving me sort of like a Tim Curry from the Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe. The way that character was in Rocky Horror Picture Show was kind of what they wanted to do for the Evil Queen Regina. So what I didn't know is that I would have this outrageous dance number on top of it. And you tell me to sing a dance and I'm like, let's go. I was very excited about it. I was also terrified because I'd never sang like this in front of so many people. And I don't mean just on the set, I mean the millions of people that watched it. So it was exciting, it was scary, although those feelings are very similar in the body, right? The nerves and excitement are very similar. But it was so much fun. It brought so much life to the set. Everyone was singing, everyone was humming, everyone was showing up to different, people's performances. Like I went to see Rebecca Mader sing as the Wicked Witch. I wanted to see what it was like for her, and also for Snow and Charming, Ginny and Josh. And it was like a breath of fresh air for everybody. It's one of my favorite episodes.
Next one.
So, Once Upon a Time always had a very tight group of fans, but it was never a really mass public phenomenon. So almost every year was almost that threat of cancellation and renew, not renew. So my question is, how many times did you have to change your approach on development of the character, thinking, okay, we might not get another year to continue this, so I have to change this bit, I have to change this bit. So did you have to change a lot, or did you have an idea from the beginning and you kept on it?
Well, that's interesting because I disagree with you.
Yeah.
It was a global hit. It wasn't an industry show, but it was for the audience. We had a huge following. That's why I'm able to kind of be here today. So it was a global hit. There was a lot of confidence in the cast feeling like it was going to come back, actually. And the reasons for that were that we fit in a very specific time slot on ABC on Sundays at 8 p.m. That was the Disney hour. That was the Disney hour for many, many, many years back in the day. And that was, quote unquote, the family hour. So our show is a family show. It's a family watch show. I'll meet people today who will tell me, guaranteed, I watched this show with my mother, I watched this show with my grandparents. It's the only show that my mother's, it's the only show my daughter would ever watch with me. Like, otherwise she wants to be with her friends, you know? And so there's something very special about it. Now, with that said, how to keep a fresh perspective every year? I mean, it was two reasons. It's one, the writers have to show up and create that for you. And then two, you have to deliver and bring the performance. And the way I kept Regina fresh every time is by staying interested and by finding new ways to be, you know, what haven't I shown the audience? What haven't they seen? And I would watch different material, read something, I would seek, you know, inspiration, because it's everywhere. And I would go, okay, what can I give to the character? Maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. They've never seen that before. So that's how we were able to keep a fresh perspective.
So I'm afraid we only have time for one more question.
Yes.
Maybe in line with that question, what are your thoughts of season 7?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What are your thoughts on season 7?
Season 7.
Yeah.
I think season 7 was, actually, I think in hindsight, season 7 was pretty great. It had some things that didn't quite work, you know, but I think that everyone is so comfortable with what they know that it was very difficult for people to open up to
To a
something
new
different.
world, yeah.
You know, and you just hold on to, like, people don't like change. People don't like change. They want what's familiar, what I know, people I want to see, and it was very hard for the audience to accept the differences and the new characters, etc. But overall, season 7 was really fun because there were new characters, and of course I missed some of my fellow actors from the previous years, but it was different, and we were trying something different, and it was starting to find its legs, you know, it just needed a little more time. And also in season 7, I got to direct. So for me, it was very special. You know, I think that when you're so used to a cast for 6 years and some of those people are gone, it's just hard, you know, to maintain whatever that was, because it's no longer that. And as an audience, you have to accept that. And then you have to stay open-minded to see what is new in front of you.
So unfortunately, guys, that's the time we have.
But I like
We
the
have to
ending.
take Lana.
You like the end?
Yeah.
I know, I became the queen of all realms. I like that. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Obrigada.
Obrigado.
Obrigada.